Hello, my name is Kathy Tykolis. I am the Richmond Art Gallery's Education and Public Programs Coordinator. I wanted to find out a little bit more about the current exhibition featuring our collection called Selected Stories 1980 to 2020. So I'm here with our curatorial assistant and guest curator of the exhibition, Sofia Stalner. So welcome, Sofia.
Thank you.
And I'm going to ask you some questions about the exhibition.
Sounds good.
So first of all, could you just share how this exhibition, Selected Stories, came about?
Yeah, so we wanted to do something for our 40th anniversary, which is this year. So there was a lot of things kind of thrown around at the beginning of the year, a lot of things like events and, public gatherings and all of that obviously couldn't happen. So then I kind of suggested that why don't we do something with our collection, since it's been there from the start and it's something that we don't show very often. So that's kind of how it came to be. And then it just kind of worked out that we could put it kind of towards the end of the year, and it'll be a celebration and something that people can go and enjoy, even though we can't do any kind of public events or anything like that.
Great, thanks. So have any of these works been exhibited before?
Some of them have. I would say the majority have been exhibited before, but not for a very long time. And there's also some that have actually never been exhibited, because a lot of the works were collected in the 80s and 90s. Most of them have not kind of been out of the storage since then.
For those who don't know about the Richmond Art Gallery's collection, so where is it kept and how does the gallery care for it?
It's kept in the Richmond Art Center, and it is owned by the city of Richmond, since we're a civic gallery, but it's cared for by the art gallery staff.
Great. And so how do you think this exhibition reflects the gallery's history?
Well, when the gallery started, it was a community art space, a community art gallery. So it was run almost, it had one staff member, and everyone else who worked on it were volunteers from the community. And a lot of these volunteers were also artists, and they were the exhibiting artists. So the artists that we have in the collection were also the people that started the gallery, in a sense, that they were there from the beginning and built up the gallery. And because in the early days, the exhibitions were changed every 2 weeks. So there were new artists, new group shows every 2 weeks. And almost all of them, there was a donation. So there's a lot of exhibitions every year, a lot of donations every year. So the majority of the works that we have in the collection are from the 80s and early 90s.
So that kind of answered my next question about just how the collection came about. You talked a bit about how it started, but how did it kind of grow beyond that?
I think the Richmond Art Gallery, it has been different things at different time through its history. So as I said, it started as a local kind of community art space. Local artists were really running it on a volunteer basis. And then as we have grown, also become more professionalized, the mandate has shifted various times. So in the kind of late 90s, the mandate became more of the kind of exhibitions that we do today, so contemporary art, local, Canadian, also some international, but the kind of collecting kind of fell to the wayside. It wasn't as important anymore. So since the year 2000, we really haven't accessioned that many works. There have been some donations, I would say between 5 and 10 in the last 20 years, also from artists that have exhibited at the gallery. But because it's not in our mandate anymore to be a collecting gallery, we don't actively kind of seek donations anymore.
How many works are in the collection?
Just under 400.
Wow, so that's a lot. So how did you select the works for this exhibition?
Well, it's not that easy, obviously. I wanted to focus on works that would kind of represent the history and kind of pick works that kind of show the development of the gallery, and yeah, just pick kind of works from each, not exactly each year, but just a kind of progression, so that the first one is from 82, I think, and then the last one is from 2015, so that we kind of see a little bit of a timeline, but also bring out some works by artists that are not that known to people, that were community artists, that were not full-time artists, but still created really great work and still were really important for the gallery. So to bring out some of those artists and also bring out works that we haven't seen for a long time. So for example, I'm going to talk later about the prints by Anna Wong, for example, that we acquired in 87, but they have not been exhibited since then, and they haven't actually been framed. They've been stored unframed, but we had them framed for this exhibit and brought them out. So yeah.
So, well, carrying on that theme, like, were there any artists or works in particular that you really wanted to include?
Yeah, I think the two prints by Anna Wong from her Chinese wall series is or two that I really wanted to show. We actually have 6 from the series, but I chose 2 of them. And I think Anna Wong is a really interesting artist, or was. She's very prolific, the 60s, 70s, 80s. In Vancouver. She also worked in New York and in Hong Kong. But she's someone who isn't really often mentioned when we talk about art in Vancouver in the 60s and 70s. She's, I would say, not really forgotten, but a little bit overlooked until quite recently. I think, especially with the Burnaby Art Gallery doing a really great exhibition of her work in 2018, I think. And that exhibition is actually still traveling. I think it's in Nanaimo right now. And that really brought her kind of into the limelight again. And we have such a very nice series of her works that and as I said, they haven't been shown since 87. I think it was really important to bring those out and to show those.
Right. Any other artists that I guess that you just thought were important to our collection or important to be included?
Yeah, I think a personal favorite of mine was the Arnold Chives etching that we have that's included. It was really kind of delicate and really kind of quiet work, but also that had not been shown since it was donated in 90. It was included in the his solo exhibitions in 1992, and after that he donated it to us, and we also have not exhibited that work since then. So that was just like a personal favorite of mine. I just think it's so beautiful. So really happy that we could bring that out. And the other thing I would mention is probably the works by Alan Wood that's in the exhibit in the vitrines. And I find those 3 works really interesting because they're actually not finished works. He gave us a large donation of his work in 1994. And it included a lot of these, you know, the sketches and the preprints and the color tests and things like that. So the 3 works that were that we have on display, they kind of show the process of printmaking, or his process of printmaking, how he made the sketches and he tested things and he kind of worked his way toward the finished works. So that's really neat to be able to show that kind of progress, I think. And it's not something, those 3 works or sketches have actually never been shown. They were not on display, even in the original exhibit. So that was also nice. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it must be exciting to like discover these and, you know, sort of almost forgotten works and bring them out to see the light of day.
Yeah, definitely.
So in your curatorial statement, and I'm just going to read a bit from that, any collection of art is also a collection of stories, of curatorial decisions, disagreements, and exclusions. The permanent collection tells the story of local artists, ambitious exhibition projects, and a dedicated community. However, like any collection of stories, this collection does not tell the unobjective truth. It reflects the decisions made by a certain group of people during a specific period in time and it has been shaped by the exclusions and discriminations prevalent in our society. While the permanent collection illustrates the progress of the RAG from a community art space to a nationally recognized gallery, it also contains clear omissions in representation. The works included in this exhibition convey the gallery's progress while also reflecting these omissions. In recognizing this, we are eager to take the necessary steps toward including more stories in our collection, more stories about Richmond, about its artists and art enthusiasts, and about the next 40 years of the Richmond Art Gallery. So could you maybe just expand on this idea a little bit, just of what stories you felt were included or omitted, and how you see the gallery kind of moving forward in its collection and its collection policies?
I think it's important when we talk about art collections or museum collections that we kind of acknowledge that they're not neutral, or they didn't like come into being as a self-evident thing. Like all the works that we have collected, someone or a group of people have made the decision to collect that work. And obviously everyone has biases and opinions and personal preferences. And those, when you take those personal preferences into your job or your volunteer position, and that affects the museum and the gallery, and that's why we have the works that we have in the collection today. I think it's important to acknowledge that and kind of give people the chance to see behind the scenes a little bit too, how these collections that we see in the museums, how they are formed and how they grow, and who makes the decisions and things like that. So, and I think things have changed so much when we talk about, collections and art and things like that from the 80s to now. And really, in the 80s, you did not really talk about diversity of any kind, for example. Obviously now it's very different. So it's good to re-examine the works that we have and see, how they were chosen and how we choose to display them now. And also, if we keep collecting, what works are we collecting, which artists are we highlighting?
Great. So, as sort of a wrap up, as visitors come to view the exhibition, do you have any last comments or something you want to let visitors know that they should consider as they're viewing the show?
I think it's nice for the people that see the show to know that a lot of these artists actually helped start the art gallery, which is not something that happens a lot. Like that kind of grassroots beginning it's really important to the Richmond Art Gallery and what we still do today in our kind of place within the Richmond art community. And to kind of see that, yes, they were artists, but they were also like our volunteers and really the reason that we're here today. So I think that's nice if people know that when they come to see the show. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started at the gallery, a lot of those volunteers were still around. So I remember their dedication, their enthusiasm. I remember hearing, like, off in a room, lots of laughter and arguments and all that. They were a very dedicated group of volunteers, and it's nice that we kind of get to celebrate a bit of that history. So thank you, Sofia, for putting together the exhibition and for sharing this with us and letting us know kind of how it came together and a little bit about the history of the Richmond Art Gallery. So thank you so much, Sofia, and thank you to the visitors. Hope you enjoy the exhibition.